Hello everyone, this is Silverreploid speaking, and before we resume the remainder of the video, I want to take this time frame to honor and remember those who have sacrificed their lives, all the men and the women who have sacrificed their lives in their uniforms, striving everything to preserve the freedom of our nation. Thank you to those who have been serving our country for a long duration of time. Today is Memorial Day, and I want to take this time frame to remember and honor those who have sacrificed their lives for preserving our freedom. And before we resume, I want to take a moment of silence to remember and honor those people. Humblest of regards to the fellow members of the Alpha branch of the Utopia. And now, commencing video. Hello there everyone, my name is the one and only Silverreploid. How are you guys doing on YouTube? That's right, the Silverreploid / Inked Link coming at you live looking fresh in the flesh on the net, streaming on stream, and welcome back everyone to another video. First things first, hope you guys are having a very blessed and safe Monday thus far, and today is also Memorial Day as you already heard from the prologue of the video. But anyway guys, enough about that. Hope you guys are taking care of yourselves out there, and of course, the weather was pretty heinous today, so that's what got me to a bit of a late start. And yeah, but thankfully the weather has calmed down for right now to where I can do the video. So with that being said guys, let's get started right into what we got right here. This is another SCP that we have right here, and as you already know, last week I took a break from reacting to SCP because I had some important stuff going on last week, but now I'm free, and of course we're getting back to reacting to some more SCP anomalies. And today's anomaly that we're looking at is SCP-055 anti-meme/unknown. Oh, another unknown entity. So guys, before I commence reaction to the video, for those who are new to the channel, thank you all very much as always for tuning in, and of course giving the channel a very excellent glimpse. Your everlasting love and support are greatly appreciated here truly. Please do not hesitate to like this video if you enjoyed, leave your comments down below, and please subscribe for more with notifications activated. Also, big shout outs to the members on behalf of the Utopian branch, aka the membership branch. If you also wish to become a member on behalf of the branch, please refer to the join button, review the perks, and when you join, the perks are going to to you by yours truly. Make sure you also subscribe to SCP Explained for more of their explanatory animations. As always everyone, the channel is provided in the description, comments in the outro, and with that being said guys, let's go ahead and check out this SCP anomaly right here, which will see how it goes, and that'll be all for today's reactions. Rolling Club now. Hi everyone, before continuing, it is with great pleasure to let you guys know that I made a cameo. If you'd like to receive a personal video shout out from me, whether it's your birthday, your wedding day, or if you even like to receive a congratulatory shout out for your gaming achievement, sporting achievements, social media account milestones, and so much more to help you to also start your cameo journey, please refer to my link located in the video description.
A veteran worker of the SCP Foundation sits at his terminal, performing one of the most critical tasks in the entire organization, creating a file for an as-yet undescribed SCP. But there's something terribly wrong. His eyes are glazed over, his mouth hangs open. Is this a zombie or a trained Foundation researcher? What is going on? Like any large international organization, it takes more than just the exciting action-filled jobs to keep the wheels turning at the SCP Foundation. Sure, the head researchers, guards, mobile task force soldiers, and members of the 05 Command get all the praise, but a legion of number crunchers, cleaners, and paper pushers are equally important. One such person was archivist Walter Bainbridge, who had been tasked with digitizing some of the older records that the Foundation had on file. It was when he was innocently recording the details on SCP-050 through 060 that he first came under the strange and startling effects of SCP-055. But the most peculiar part, as with all incidents of SCP-055's anomalous effects taking hold, is that Walter had no idea any of it was happening. In his new digitized filing system, he first took note of SCP-053, Euclid class, also known as the young girl.
Oh,
This anomaly was
I
a
remember
seemingly
her.
normal human female child who provoked homicidal insanity in those directly exposed to her. Then SCP-054, Safe Class.
Oh,
A non-aggressive humanoid female made entirely of, as well as biologically and chemically identical to regular spring water. Next, SCP-056, Euclid Class. A being that changes form to suit its environment, but only
the
when all
previous
observers
SCP I'd
lose
never
focus
seen
of it.
before.
And then SCP-057, Safe Class, an underground chamber that crushes the humans who walk within. It was at this point that Walter received a concerned message from one of his superiors at Site-19, Mr. Kovac. The message praised the thorough digitization of the other anomalies' records, but was confused about why Walter had left out any mention of SCP-055. Immediately, Walter was embarrassed. How could he have forgotten SCP-055? That iconic anomaly known for... well, he couldn't quite say off the top of his head, but he'd be sure to look into it. A quick trip to the Site-19 archive showed him that there was actually quite a hefty file on the nature of SCP-055, which must have been the result of a huge number of studies. What struck him as strange was that all the files were filled out in pen rather than being typed up like a traditional file. The majority of these notes were written in shorthand too, as though they were frantically taken during the tests themselves on extremely short notice. There weren't even any redactions. Walter made a mental note of what he had seen, put the file back in its proper place, and headed back to his computer terminal. However, after writing in an almost trance-like state, he looked back on his work to see that he had written an entry on SCP-058, a giant evil bovine heart with insect legs and a scorpion stinger.
Ouch.
Strange, he thought.
Very strange.
That's when
indeed.
Walter got a call from Mr. Kovac on his Foundation issue phone, and he didn't sound happy. He'd given Walter direct instructions to go back and digitize the files on 055, and instead he'd been working on 058. What was the meaning of this? Walter was typically an extremely loyal and diligent employee, but the verbal barrage from his supervisor had him considering talking back, just this once, and hoping it didn't get him demoted to D class and thrown into 682's acid bath for playtime. Walter gulped, picked up some courage, and interrupted Mr. Kovac's rant to ask if he had any idea what SCP-055 actually was. The line went silent for a moment, then his supervisor spoke again, this time with less confidence. Of course I can tell you about SCP-055. It's a classic, one of the first 100. How could you forget it?
Saying that it's a classic is a complete understatement. It seemed like his demeanor as to how
I think it's the one with, another long
How can you be so
pause as
uncertain?
Mr. Kovac seemed to search
You're
for
one of the
words,
higher ups.
but instead just trailed off into
Mr.
silence.
Kovac.
Knowing that some of the anomalies on file were dangerous mimetic hazards, Walter was worried for a moment that he may have accidentally killed his boss by getting him to think too hard about SCP-055. He asked if Mr. Kovac was okay, and finally got a reply. I'm sorry, I seem to have zoned out for a second there. What were we talking about again?
Mr. Kovac.
But this time it was Walter who couldn't answer. He had no idea at all what the two of them were discussing just moments ago. He felt disoriented and kind of sick, like they'd taken some low-level amnestics. Mr. Kovac told Walter to get back to his filing duties, and they'd speak later. Walter then checked the messages he'd received from Mr. Kovac earlier, and there it was, plain as day. You missed 055. Go back and digitize that before proceeding. Mr. K. But Walter had never even heard of an SCP-055 if such an anomaly even existed. What was going on here? In that moment, Walter realized he was dealing with something much stranger than just a standard digitization job. After all, how could he properly complete his duties if SCP-055 seemed to be impossible to speak, write, or even think about, unless he were directly observing it at that moment? Walter had to know, and ask around the entirety of Site-19 to find the answers if he had to. Sadly for Walter, he was about to embark on a much more challenging task than he could have ever imagined. To paraphrase a supposed quote from Socrates, all I know is that I know nothing. And that's also about the extent of the knowledge we have on SCP-055, also known as the anti-meme and the self-keeping secret. What does it look like? When and how was it obtained by the Foundation? What are its anomalous abilities? Is this thing dangerous? We may never know. Because the only anomalous
Mr.
ability
Kovac
of
might know about it.
SCP-055 that we're aware of is the fact that nobody is capable of retaining any information about it. It's crucial to note that whatever 055 is, it isn't invisible or indescribable. Foundation personnel are perfectly capable of entering its containment chamber and observing it without incident, but mere minutes after leaving the chamber, any memories of the particulars of 055 seem to spontaneously erase themselves. Hence, the self-keeping secret. But this didn't deter Walter. Perhaps his greatest advantage was that he didn't know enough about the thing he was investigating to know how futile his mission was. He wanted to know the unknowable, and a pesky issue like impossibility wouldn't stop him. He'd get to whoever he needed to at Site-19 to get the answers he needed. Of course, most people had no knowledge of the mysterious anomaly. The common response he got back from his colleagues was, 055? Do we even have a 055? While the realization of sudden memory loss, or the realization of 055's existence, has been known to cause momentary stress, there are no known long-term physical or mental effects from 055's anomalous abilities. It's a fleeting idea in its purest form, like forgetting why you walked into a room. 055 could be the most harmless object on the Foundation's roster, or the most deadly. Either way, we just don't know. At times, Walter worried he was going insane.
Mr. Kovac is desperate for the
and
information
everything
regards
related
to
to
this
it was
entity.
gaslighting him. Was 055 even real? The one thing that proved to him that 055 must have existed is that its containment chamber existed. According to the official records kept by the Foundation on the Site-19 containment facilities, 055 is kept in a 5x5 by 2.5 meter square room, constructed of 50-foot thick cement, with a Faraday cage surrounding the cement walls. The report continues that access is via a heavy containment door measuring 2 by 2.5 meters, constructed on bearings to ensure door closes and locks automatically unless held open deliberately. 055 cell is one of the few to have no posted security guards, and any personnel working on other SCPs in the area are ordered to remain at least 50 feet from the geometric center of 055 cell, where the anomaly itself is kept. When he tried to explore further why the cell was constructed in this manner, he found that, surprise, surprise, nobody knew. 055 was an anomaly whose containment requirements were so mysterious that it automatically netted itself a Keter class designation. After all, how can you properly contain something you can't even hope to comprehend? There were plenty of rumors about the true nature of 055. Some of the more conspiratorial minds at Site-19 theorized that 055 was actually an autonomous or remotely controlled spy inserted into the site to observe Foundation operations, or even humanity as a whole. If you're on the more paranoid end of the psychological spectrum, this theory makes total sense. An anomaly that's physically impossible to remember, even when writings and pictures on the subject exist, would be a perfect spy. However, this was all ultimately little more than speculation. Walter was barely any further along than when he started. There were multiple points in his investigations where Walter seriously considered giving up, until finally, he had a major breakthrough. Dr. Bartholomew Hughes and Dr. John Marichek were two scientists that had performed extensive research into 055, and who, Walter hoped, might have the answers he sought about the self-keeping secret. These scientists were the first to discover the anti-memetic nature of 055, performing numerous tests on D-Class personnel to see if it was possible to create feasible written records, sketches, or any other records or impressions that could bypass its anomalous effects. The disorienting, memory-ruining effects of 055 also extend to any materials concerning 055. It seems to be a truly uncrackable code, but Dr. Hughes may have finally found some cracks in the armor. For starters, the fact that we're able to remember that 055 is an anti-memetic is an ironic exception to its anti-memetic qualities. This revelation also inspired another realization from Dr. Hughes. Would it be possible to discover more about 055 from the process of deduction rather than the typical induction? In other words, could they possibly learn about 055 by figuring out all the things it isn't, rather than what it is. Dr. Marichek designed an experiment with Dr. Hughes to explore this theory. They designed the experiment around a simple question: is 055 not spherical? In designing the question to specifically find out what 055 isn't, they hoped to subvert the anomaly's anti-mimetic powers. Walter was fascinated by this potential method of getting answers. Marichek and Hughes found that, while the questioning process for those exposed was often arduous and frustrating, they could now definitely say that 055 is not a sphere. It is theoretically possible to discover the true nature of 055 by an almost endless barrage of deductive questions, though whether Command would authorize the resources for such extensive testing is still an open question. Walter, in his desperation, begged Marichek and Hughes for clearance to view 055 himself. The curiosity had become too great during his search to just walk away with the single fact that 055 wasn't spherical. He needed to see this thing. And after several weeks of filling out forms and cutting red tape, his wish was finally granted. Walter Bainbridge was allowed a private audience with SCP-055, the subject of his months-long obsession. Outsiders observed that Walter spent just over an hour in the containment chamber, taking photos, drawing sketches, writing down notes, recording audio logs, and reciting memory mnemonics. He was pulling out every stop to counteract the anti-mimetic effects of the self-keeping secret. He was adamant that he would not be defeated by his non-spherical nemesis, not after all this time and effort. Once his time in the 055 containment chamber was over, he retired back to his office to finally digitize his exhaustive findings, so that his supervisor, Mr. Kovac, would finally get off his back. Walter smiled, took a deep breath, and began to type. SCP-059, Keter Class. This anomaly is a radioactive mineral that emits a unique radiation known as delta radiation. Exposure to this radiation has caused strange fungal growths on the infected... Wait, what was this supposed to be about again? Oh well, it couldn't have been that important. Anyway.
Okay, so... yeah, my mind was literally all over the place after so many events transpiring from one angle to the next. So Dr. Walter was trying his hardest to gather information and digitalize intel in regards to the SCP-055 anomaly, where it is an anti-mimetic and unknown entity. Of course, his supervisor, Dr. Kovac, was demanding him to obtain any information and digitalize to him ASAP in regards to SCP-055. Of course, most people were not aware of this particular anomaly as to what it's like, what its form was like, if it's like, you know, what type of traits is this anomaly pertain to, and stuff like that, etc, etc, etc. Of course, a majority of people, the scientists and everyone, weren't aware of this particular anomaly, except for when Dr. Marichek and Dr. Hughes were trying to gather intel in regards to what this anomaly was like, which was in Dr. Walter's favor. And of course, Dr. Walter decided to investigate himself as to what this anomaly was like in the containment cell in the SCP Foundation. So, as he started to get it updated, like using every means necessary to capture any data to transmit back to Dr. Kovac, I guess at this point he sought to triumph in the aftermath of gathering any possible and inconclusive data in regards to SCP-055. So I don't know if it's a good sign for him, or I don't know, or even a good sign for Mr. Kovac, since he seemed rather desperate for the data for SCP-055. But who knows? At any rate, guys, that right there is my reaction to the explanatory animation SCP-055 anti-mimetic entity / unknown. And yeah, I thought it was pertaining to a certain meme where it's like, well, yeah. Anyway, guys, that right there is my reaction to the animation, explanatory animation. Hope you guys enjoyed it very much, and if you did, as always, please hit the like button, leave your comments down below, and please subscribe for more with the notifications activated. Also, make sure you subscribe to SCP Explained for more of their explanatory animations Channels provided in the description, comes in the outro, and guys, my social media, Twitch, and my song list are provided in the description as well. If you wish to request a personal video shout out from yours truly, please refer to my Cameo link located in the video description. Request whatever you want to say on camera, and boom, that's your video shout out. And if you also wish to commission a song made by yours truly that you can use for your content, etc., please do not hesitate to let me know via social media. We'll go from there for audio song commissions. This is me, Silverreploid CLE, signing off for now. I love you guys. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Stay fresh in the flesh and off the hook. And on behalf of the Utopia, I will catch every single one of you in the next video. Have a blessed and safe Monday, everyone. And of course, safe Memorial Day. Remember those who have been serving our nation for a long time. And with that being said, guys, I will see you again soon. If you love music, and if you would like to partake in support of my channel by purchasing music, please refer to my song list down below. Hey guys, Silverreploid CLE here. I want to thank all of you for watching this video. Please smash on the like button, subscribe for more content if you're new, and please turn on the push notifications. And also, please make sure you check out my other videos or any video on display and show tons of love and support for not only me, but to those who are also involved. Have a great one, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!